Here are the video solutions for Pearson Edexcel Functional Skills Maths Level 1. This is section A, which is the non-calculator section from past paper 4. So let's take a look at the first question. So what we need to do is work out the cost of taking the train 5 times per week. So the calculation is £11.50 times by 5. We can't use a calculator, so I would do 11 times 5 plus 50p times by 5. 11 times by 5, that is £55, and 550p's is 250p, so £2.50. So the total, train total is £57.50. So the difference is 65, take away £57.50. Well, I know to go from £57.50 to £60 is £2.50. So another 5 to take me to 65, so 5 plus the £2.50 is £7.50, so that is the difference. So that is how much more expensive it is to travel by car each week, £7.50. Okay, so use a common fraction to work out an estimate for 73%. So 73% is quite a horrible amount, but it's quite close to 75%, and 75% is 3/4. So here we're just going to be working out 3/4 of 120. So when we're working out a fraction of a total, we take our total, we divide it by the number on the bottom, and we multiply by the number on the top. 120 divided by 4 is what? Well, 12 divided by 4 is 3. So 120 divided by 4 is 30. And now we're going to multiply that by 3. 30 times 3 is 90. So that is our answer. Question 3. So we know that for 10 scones we use 150 millilitres of milk. Now we want 200 scones. So what we could do, well, if 10 scones is this, then 100 scones, that is 10 times more. 10 times more scones, so 10 times more milk, so 1500 millilitres of milk. Now comparing 100 to 200, well, 200 is double that, so we just need to double the milk. 1500 times by 2, that is 3000 millilitres. So that is our, oh, and we need to put it into litres. Okay, so remember that 1 litre is 1000 millilitres, so when we're converting litres to millilitres, we multiply by 1000, so when we're going in the opposite direction, we are dividing by 1000. 3000 divided by 1000 is 3. So the answer here is 3 litres. Question number 4. So we know that it's a square-based pyramid and it's a square with a side length of 6, so 6 by 6. So base area 6 by 6, which is 36 square centimetres. Now to get the volume, we are multiplying that by the height, which we've been told is 9. So 36 multiplied by 9, we're going to have to use a column method. 6 9s are 54, carry 5, 3 9s are 27, 27 plus 5 is 32. So, and now we need to divide that by 3. So what is 324 divided by 3? 3 divided by 3 is 1, 2 divided by 3 can't be done, so put in a 0, slide the 2 across. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So it's, the answer is 108 cubic centimetres. Fred thinks that the volume of one pyramid is more than 100. So is Fred correct? The answer is yes. The answer is not 108 cubic centimetres, although in reality the answer is 108, but we do need to put in the yes to confirm it. And that is the end of section A. Here are the video solutions for Pearson Edexcel Functional Skills Maths Level 1. This is section B, which is the calculator paper from past paper 4. So let's take a look at question number 1. So what we need to do is work backwards from 920. So from 920, probably easier if we see 1 3/4 hours as 1 hour 45. So we're subtracting 1 hour 45 and we're subtracting 25 minutes. Now it doesn't matter which one we take off first. So I'm going to subtract the 25 minutes first. So remember that 25 minutes is 20 minutes and 5 minutes. So if I take off the 20, that takes me to 9. So I'm 9, take away 5 minutes, which takes me to 8:55 in the morning. Now I just need to take away the 1 hour 45. So 8:55, take away 1 hour 45. Well, if I take off the 1 first of all, I'm down to 7:55. So now I just need to take off 45 minutes. 55, take away 45 is 10. So the latest you can wake up is 7:10 in the morning. Okay, so we know that there were 2,170 people each recycling that amount of waste. So the total waste is 2,170 multiplied by 395.4, and that comes to 858018 kilos. Now we want this in tons. We know that 1 ton is 1,000 kilos, so kilos to tons we are dividing by 1,000. So 858018 divided by 1,000, that is 858.018 tons. And we need to give the answer to 2 decimal places, which means we're interested in the value of the 3rd decimal place. It's above 5, so the column to the left will move up by 1, so that is 858.02 tons. Use estimation to show a check of your answer. Okay, so I'm going to call 2,170, I'll call that 2,000. I'll call 395 400. So that is 2 times 4, which is 8, and then put all those zeros back, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I need to divide that number, 800,000, divided by 1,000, and that is 800, and that's tons. So we can see that we are in the right ballpark. So we've checked that the answer is probably correct. Okay, so for this question, the key to begin with is that we're going up in 50s. So this will be 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400. Month 1 is 200, so 200 is there. Month 2, so 2 is 180, so that's 2 down from 100, so there. Month 3 is 220, 200, and so 2 up from there, that point there, and 4 is 275, so 275 is exactly halfway between the 250 and the 300, so it's quite hard to see, it will be there. There we go. You could join them up with point to point with a straight line if you wanted to, or you could just leave it with the points as is. Okay, let's look at 3B. So, which shop sells the most scarves? So shop A sold 15% of 120. So the calculation is 0.15 multiplied by 120. 0.15, that is the multiplier we use for 15%. It's the decimal equivalent of 15%. It is 15 divided by 100. And 0.15 times 120 is 18. So that is shop A. And shop B is 1/8 of 152. And 1/8 of 152, the calculation is 152 divided by 8, which is 19. Shop B. So which shop sells the most scarves? Well, we can say it is shop B, because they sold 1 extra scarf. Okay, number 4. So Salma has got 202.69 and she's about to pay this bill. So she needs to put some money in her account to top up so that she can pay this bill. So what she needs to put in is the difference between these two amounts. So £465.20, take away 202.69 is £262.51. So if she puts that amount in, that means when the bill comes out she'll be down to 0, but she wants to make sure there's an extra £10 in there, so therefore she needs to add an extra 10 to this amount, which is relatively straightforward to do, of course. So that'll be £272.51. Okay, there we go. So 272.51. Okay, question number 5. So the pattern needs to cover the whole grid only using black and white squares, and the key thing is really 2 lines of symmetry. Now, since this is a square, we are likely going to have 1 line of symmetry here and a line of symmetry here. So let's look at this vertical line of symmetry here. So for this to be a line of symmetry, then I would need this shaded in, this shaded in, this shaded in, and this one will be over here. Okay, so if this was fresh ink, these 4 blobs, and we folded, they would smudge onto these 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Now, looking at this, the horizontal line of symmetry, then I would need to then put, well, again, we'll just think if this was fresh ink on these 4, 8 squares, and you folded upwards, imagine the print they would make, or they would cover these squares here. There we go. So I filled it in, and now it has 2 lines of symmetry. Okay, which one of these nets will make a cube? Well, for me, if I were to draw a net of a cube, it's 4 squares with 1 square above and 1 square below in any position. Doesn't matter whereabouts they are. For me, this is the most common net of a cube. With the others, just imagine you're doing some origami, I suppose, and you'll realise that A, B, C and E just will not work out. Okay, so the bearing of the root means, imagine we're at the start, we're facing north, our eyes are facing in that, our whole body is facing north. How many degrees do we need to rotate our body until we're facing the drink stop? So we need to measure this angle here. So what you need to do is just put your probably what you need to do is extend this north line upwards, put your the center of your protractor there and make sure it lies flat on this line, and then just read the scale on the outside at this point here, and you should get something along the lines of 75 degrees. And as it's a bearing, it's quite common to write it as 3 figures, so 0, 7, 5. Sorry, I can't really demonstrate how to use the protractor, but hopefully that's something that you're able to do yourself. Okay, so here we need to work out the range. So the range is the biggest, take away the smallest. So what is the biggest value here? It's Dylan with 53. The smallest is Fred with 38. 53, take away 38 is 15 minutes. Relatively straightforward, that one. Okay, so for part C, we need to work out what the mean is. So for the mean, what we need to do is add all the values together. So 47 plus 42 plus 53 plus 40 plus 38. So that comes to 220. So it's the total divided by the number of values there are, which is 5. 220 divided by 5 is 44. So the mean running time for the runners in the team last year was 45. It's now 44. Carl thinks that the mean running time for the runners in the team this year is less than 45. Well, he is correct because it's now 44. So is Carl correct? The answer is, of course, yes. Okay, so for this question, what we need to do is work out the perimeter. So it's going to be 15.75 plus 6.2 plus another 15.75 plus another 6.2, and that comes to 43.9 meters. Now I need to factor in the gate where there's going to be no fencing for the gate, so I'm going to subtract 1.5. 43.9 take away 1.5 is 42.4. So this is the amount of fencing that Jasmine needs, but it's only sold in whole meters. It might be close to 42, but if we get 42 meters of fencing, then we've got 40 centimeters where there is no fence where there should be. So we'll need to round it up to 43, which means we've got 60 centimeters of fence left over. Not a problem. So for question number 8, the first thing we need to do is measure this fridge. So using a ruler, this should be, provided you've got in front of you the correct size exam paper, this should be 2 centimeters by 4.5 centimeters. Now we know that 1 centimeter equals 40 centimeters. So if 1 centimeter is 40 centimeters in real life, then 2 centimeters is going to be 80 centimetres in real life. So we've got 80 centimetres across, and the height 4.5. If 1 is 40, 4.5 is going to be 4.5 times by 40, and 4.5 times 40 is 180. So we want a fridge that is as close to 80 by 180 as possible. So A won't work, it's too tall. B works, C works, D does not work because it's too wide. So Samir wants to buy the largest fridge, so which one is larger, B or C? Well, C is larger, it's wider, and it is taller. So the answer here is fridge C. Question number 9. So it's 45% off. So if you're going shopping and you're getting 10% off a pair of trainers, then you pay 90%. So if it's 45% off, then it's for sale at 100, take away 45%, which is 55%. So we need to work out 55% of 170. So we need to work out what our percentage multiplier is for 55%. It is 0.55, and that's what we multiply 170 by. This number here is the decimal equivalent of 55%. It is this number here divided by 100. 0.55 multiplied by 170 is £93.50, so that's how much it will cost. She's got a budget of 100, so can Rita buy this shelf? Yes, she can, because it's £6.50 under budget. So use a reverse method to show a check of your answer. Again, this question is a little bit daft because this reverse method to check our answer is much more complicated than what we did before, really, so it doesn't really make sense. So if I do £93.50 and I divide it by 170, what do I get? I get 0.55. Or I could do £93.50 divided by 0.55 and I get 170. So both of these is just a double check of the multiplication we've done. Okay, question number 10. It's an ordinary fair dice. So what is the probability that he rolls an even number? Well, if you're not sure, just write the numbers out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So of the 6, how many are even? That is 3 out of 6, which is the same as 1/2, and 1/2 is at this point here. So that's where we need to mark the X. So what is the probability that the number is more than 5 when it's numbered 1 to 12? So it could be more than 5, so not 5. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 12 numbers. So the probability is simply 7/12. Okay, so question number 11. The way I would approach this question, first of all, I would work out the existing area. So the area of the office is going to be 21 multiplied by 15.5 metres, and that comes to a total area of 325.5 square metres. Now there's 65 people currently working in the office, but this is going to be increased by 20%. So what we need to do is, well, increase 65 people by 20%. Now what you could do is work out 20% of this amount and add it on. In fact, let's do that. Some people would prefer to do this mentally than using a calculator. 10% is 6.5. So 20% is double that, so that's going to be 13. So we need to add 13 to 65, and 65 plus 13 is 78. Alternatively, what you could do is just 0.2 times by 65, which is 13, and then that's where this 13 comes from. Or you could just do 1.2 times by 65, which takes you directly to the 78. Now, the reason why people prefer to use the mental method is basically because people are afraid to use the calculator and they don't really have a good understanding of percentage multipliers, which is definitely something that's worth trying to understand. It makes calculations involving percentages much faster. Anyway, we know that there's now going to be 78 people in the office, and the office is still the same size. So what I'm going to do is work out, well, how many square meters will these 78 people have each? Well, that's going to be 325.5, the area of the office, divided amongst the 78, and that comes to approximately 4.17 square meters. What's the question? She thinks that Georgia thinks that each person will still have at least 4 square meters of floor space to work in. Is she correct? You can say yes, she is correct, as each person will have 4.17 meters squared to work in. There we go, all words to that effect, and we are done. And that is the end of the assessment.